today. And if you love poetry, then this one is for you. Sue McFarlane is a local poet who began writing just before the first lockdown, and she used all that time where we couldn't go outside, remember that, or see our loved ones, to reflect on the world around her, which inspired her to publish her first poetry book, which was launched in 2021 on Zoom. That was very lockdown, wasn't it? Well, 3 years on, Sue, who's from Bingham, has launched her third book. It's called Words on Stony Ground. I've got a copy of it here, and here to tell us more about the world through the words of a poet is Sue herself. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Emma.
Now, it sounds wild when we kind of remember that lockdown period where you couldn't go out, you couldn't see anyone you loved. What inspired you to start writing during that period?
Well, I had recently retired, and I had a big bucket list of all the things I wanted to do, and I couldn't do any of them. So I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. So I had a chat with a friend, and I started to journal. Now, I know a lot of people do a little bit of journaling, and you can get some lovely notebooks to do journaling in. But through that, I actually started writing poetry. It just kind of came through, putting words down on the page, and the words started becoming poems. So I sent them to a friend, and then I sent another to a friend, and she said, I think you ought to start thinking about putting these together in a book. And the poems really were to look at what we actually had. During lockdown, it was all about you can't do this, you can't have that, you can't do this, you can't be there. But it was more about what we actually could have, what we could see, what we could do, and being grateful. And there was an abundance of things when you actually look around. So lots of nature things.
Absolutely. And now 3 years on, you are on book 3. It's called Words on Stony Ground. What's the vibe of this book?
The vibe, well, there are a few poems that are about loss, but we have that in life, which is the other subject, and of course love. So we have a good mix, lots of different styles, things like haikus and rhyming things, and things that don't rhyme, which my mum sometimes doesn't like. But she's a poet.
That's not a poet.
She's been a poet since the
1960s,
and I actually discovered this whilst we were talking on the phone every day during lockdown. And it was something that she and I share. Nobody else in our family does.
Wow.
So it was a wonderful thing to talk about and to share. And she shared stuff with me and still does. And I read my new things to her when I've got something.
Now, speaking of reading new things, we could not have you on. It's such a beautiful book. Please, will you read something for us?
Well, I will, just a little bit. Because poetry has helped with my mental health, I wanted to write a little poem after seeing an article about something called a friendship bench. Now, we do have chat tables in cafes coming through, and we do actually now have friendship benches in parks. So my poem for you today, Emma, and for everyone, is called Friendship Bench. Come, why not sit by me? I shall keep my distance until you feel comfortable. We can just breathe and be, holding enough space, watching the world go by, listening to the birds sing, seeing the new grass so green, touching the painted wood beneath us, perhaps tasting that takeaway coffee still warm in your hand through the plastic lid. Taking time to reflect on our lives' ups and downs, just like a roller coaster. If you'd like to talk, then I would be okay to listen. Maybe you'd listen to me, because I would like to talk sometime.
Oh, Sue, makes me want to cry a little bit. That's so lovely. And as you say, poetry is so important for our mental health. And we have so many amazing poets. We're so lucky in Nottingham to have so many brilliant poets.
Yes.
And it's that funny kind of thing where you sometimes think, oh, I don't think poetry is my thing. And then you hear people reading poems like that and you go, I get it. I understand that. It's not crazy complicated. It's not. No. But you've got book 3 out. Is book 4 already in the pipeline?
Maybe. There might be a few. I've been working with Paper Crane's group of poets, local to Nottingham, based in Beeston, run by Leanne Moden.
Yeah, of course.
So I need to give her a shout out. I've worked with Motifinity in Newark on commissions, and the poems that I've worked with them are on here.
Amazing.
And yes, working with the Bookcase in Loudon, which is an independent bookshop.
I love how local
selling
this
my
all is.
books.
I love that. Well, the book is out. We're running out of time. The
Oh,
book is
no.
out.
Oh.
And thank you so much for coming and sharing those poems with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're absolutely
Thank
welcome.
you.